Welcome to So We're Watching That Right, a podcast where two lesbians bully each other for having the same taste in anime. I'm Becky, scientifically certified best girl.
And I'm Val, everyone's favorite harem protagonist.
Somehow, we are just barely managing by the skin of our teeth to keep up with the season. Again, we've tried to keep all the actual sex stuff to a single block, like we did last week. It will be timestamped in the description. It's somewhat less heavy than last week, but we'll get to that when we get to it. In the meantime, let's start with My Dress Up Darling, Season 2, Episode 4.
These kids.
Where do we want to start with this one?
These kids are... The entire class was just like, oh, hell yeah, crossplay. And I was just like... Marie didn't really have to worry about her stuff at all, did she?
No. Or Gojo.
Yeah.
So yeah, in this we find out that as part of the school festival there's going to be a beauty contest, but it's crossplay. And so far, despite all the foreshadowing, Gojo has not been implicated in this. But it really feels like some part of what we learned from Himeno must be applied to Gojo by the end of this arc.
Yeah.
Please. Please.
Chekhov's tits. Come on now. Which sounds like a fantasy exclamation. Chekhov's tits.
Fucking Christ.
That's where we're starting this episode. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, so Marion is going to be the class's entry for the beauty contest because they get bonus points in the school festival competition if someone from their class wins the beauty contest.
Mm-hmm.
There are some really unhealthy things about the Japanese school system in amongst all the bullshit.
Yeah.
So Marion's going to crossplay. Gojo is making the costume. The entire class finds out that he makes Marion's costumes and thinks it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks that he's still going to have to help out with the class's actual project as well. Which what was the class project? It was something absurd.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Was it a Russian roulette?
Takoyaki Russian roulette. That's what it was.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, Gojo thought he would be helping out with building the stall and painting it and stuff. And so he was worried he wouldn't have time to make the costume as well. So Marion was going to make her own costume. And when Gojo went back to class to explain that Marion was going to make her own costume and he would help out, they all looked at him like he was a Martian.
Yep.
It was great.
All of them were like, hey, no, what do you mean? You're in charge of the important thing. Go. Shoo. Also, don't leave Marion alone. She's going to buy something stupid.
Which, fair.
Yeah.
But, slowly we are chipping away at Gojo's, I just need to make sure I'm not a hindrance for anyone attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at you.
I know you are. That was a loaded silence.
But when the class make it clear how much that they appreciate what he can do and the value of his abilities, the glow on his face, the animation in this show is so good at bringing that emotion out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's the greatest show of the season.
It's really up there, if not
it's
top right
really
now.
up there. It's such a delight to watch.
Yeah, I still think that, for me personally, Summer Hikaru Died or Fragrant Flower could probably, stand shoulder to shoulder with it, and we'll get to those later, but, it is really strong, and I am fucking biting my nails wishing I could just read the rest of the manga, but I'm being respectful.
Thank you, dear.
If they announce a season 3 at the end, I will die because I'm going to refrain from reading the manga until that happens.
We need a season 3 because there can never be enough of this show.
Yeah, they're going to adapt all of it at some point, I feel.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a season 3, and I'm impatient!
Anyway, should we talk about Watari-kun's blank is about to collapse?
Speaking of me being impatient!
In some ways, this episode was a much more normal rom-com.
Yeah.
And yet somehow it was so much more tense.
Mm-hmm.
The vibes, and I mean this in a positive, all the art design and shit is working way. It's so uncomfortable to watch this show.
Yeah.
Because, it's so stressful.
Yeah, there's a bit that happens at the end where Yukari just, like, straight up, like, loses all shine in her eyes and is just, like, fucking somewhere else. And I was just like, so they're willing to do it for moments like that, but not for earlier moments in the show where it's really clear that something is... She has, like, a fixation on Watari not being like the other boys, TM.
Yeah.
And that's where this episode ends, is kind of talking about that, yeah.
We get the first, like, clear shot of the incident in her backstory that lies behind all of this, and oh god, the trauma. You did promise me that none of these characters were okay. We have started to encounter Yukari not being okay. In lighter parts of the show, although...
Yeah.
This is the thing. The lighter parts of the show are all... Even when you don't know what the foundation is, you know that they're built on this really dark foundation. So in this, Yukari asks Satsuki and Watari if they're going out, and Satsuki says, no, that time you saw us making out, I'm just like, my culture is really friendly and we kiss each other platonically a lot. And then she kisses Yukari on the cheek to prove it.
That's the thing. Yeah, that time you saw me sucking his face so hard that he passed out, it was definitely just a friendly kiss. Watch, I'll kiss you on the cheek to prove it, which is the exact same thing that I did. Really just like, it flustered her enough to not provoke further questions and like to like, you know, quote unquote subtle things, but
yeah. Anyway, Satsuki and a boy who is obviously in love with Yukari and knows that she's in love with Watari hang out at one point in this episode and both say that they don't want to go out with their respective paramours, which is like, why would they lie to each other like that in that circumstance? Like, I get that there are reasons, but which one applies? Because that could change the meaning of the show a lot. And this is after they've sort of connived to get Watari and Yukari on a date.
Ish.
Which goes very well.
Yeah.
Because Watari can completely hold it together without having his little sister around to look out for.
Yeah. The thing about the lighter bits of the show is it's still in the context of the rest of the show, which is really heavy and dark.
Yeah.
So everything is just kind of like, okay, these are peeking over the water, but there is something dark in these depths, and everyone knows it.
I'm so afraid.
Speaking of someone who is very afraid.
Well, okay, so I'm going to remember to say the title of the anime this week. This is Secrets of the Silent Witch. And in this week's episode, we did get to see Monica in her element, doing magic. Her element is fire.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure her element is fire, but she sure did wield fire magic very effectively.
Yeah.
Because the albino guy has this amulet that is turning him to an icicle, and she just melts the icicle and rescues him and fixes the amulet because she's like a godly powerful witch when she's not ow-ow-ow-ow-ing all the time.
She's super powerful when she puts her noise-canceling hood on. That's literally... Like, she just like, I need to focus, time to noise cancel. I think a lot of anime would be better if if Japan recognized what autism is.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Anyway.
Either that or the industry would collapse.
Yeah.
So, there are a whole bunch of plots going on in this show. And one of the things she's following up is this embezzlement that's happening from the student council funds. And I thought that was all happening as part of a plot to assassinate the prince, but now, like, the student council's supervisor teacher turns out to have been responsible, and he tried to mind control her, and she, like, going on about his perfect mind control formula, and she just stands there like, this isn't perfect, it's got loads of holes. And she fixes it and turns it back on him, and he has this dream where he gets eaten by pigs.
Cute pigs, though.
Yeah, this is not like, you know, New York Mafia in the 1930s sending someone to a farm to get torn apart by rabid hogs. This is, like, adorable, Kirby-looking pigs.
Who just snuffle him to death.
Kind of, yeah. God fucking, like, this, she's getting somewhere. Even if the prince did finish this episode deciding to be super mean to her. Mm-hmm. He's so mean. He sends her to go and meet all the reps from all the clubs now that she's student council treasurer, and she's shy. It's mean.
Yeah, but the ice boy decided to help her out because he's...
yes.
I think he's got a little crush on her.
Yeah. We did also get, like, his traumatic backstory with his abusive family and his adoptive parent who gave him the amulet that nearly killed him.
Yeah.
I'm sure that won't have any consequences later.
Yep.
Anyway, in shows that aren't waiting for the consequences to be later, let's talk about Dealing with Mikadono Sisters is a Breeze, episode 4.
Yeah.
For which my notes do start with the words, the foot stuff.
The foot stuff with posh spice.
So they're at this festival. At the end of last episode, he arranged to get them all to this festival. And I haven't got the character names down for this show. Kazuki is at the festival and is recognized because she's a famous actress. And Princess carries someone after their sandal strap breaks. And everybody's like, oh, such a prince, such a prince. Meanwhile, she's getting blisters from her sandals. So you insists on, like, putting plasters on her feet. And tells her that he thinks a prince can also be a princess. And he does it in his, like, occasional bouts of sounding really cool mode.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a sense of self-preservation.
There are many things wrong with this boy, and that's one of them.
Yes. And then he goes and makes a cajillion attempts at leaping across the lily pads to get to a shrine in a challenge that's at the festival.
Lotus pads.
Lotus pads, sorry, right, yes. Lotus pads, not lily pads. Don't try that with lily pads, unless they're really big ones. I'm not 100% convinced that it works with lotus pads, but...
He's a twink, it's fine.
That's true. He's tiny. But yes, he wants to win the competition to get the prize so that he can give the prize to the sisters because they got it once 10 years ago. And there's this photo from when they got it. That's all very sweet, but it's heavy late summer rain, and he keeps falling in the pond.
Yep.
And it's a miracle he didn't get ill.
Yet. Because, like...
He hasn't yet got ill, yeah. Anyway, he's arranged this trip for the girls, and he booked them all into the same hotel room. And it was all very clever. And his one mistake was forgetting to book a hotel room for himself. And he's like, oh, it's okay, I'll just go to an internet cafe and stay up all night. And the girls are like, no, don't do that, stay here. And then all of them freak out about the fact that he's in the room.
Yep.
These girls are not okay.
I think all of this is really funny, too, because this is all after they all find him after he won. And they all offer him their umbrella because the store they got their umbrellas from was sold out. So they all talk over each other trying to offer him their umbrella, and they're all like, hey. I
truly don't believe for a second that the umbrella stall was out. I think all of them were like, I'm going to tell him it's out because then he'll have to share my umbrella. That was the implication I took from it anyway.
No, I think they genuinely were out, and these three are just idiots.
It's possible.
Looks at the rest of the episode. Just saying.
It's possible. They're so good. I want the world for them, but also maybe for them to stop being such dicks as well.
Yeah. There's also, like, so they're all extremely normal about him staying in the room, and he's also a mess, so, like, they're trying to find a robe for him to use, and they're all looking around, and he, like, gets close to them while they're looking to help them look, and they all have normal blushy feelings about this, and then they get to the shortest one, Nico, who is like, oh, I don't think there is one in the closet. And then she's the only one that's shorter than him. So he's just like, oh no, you're just too short to see. Let me get that one. It's on the top shelf. And he goes in to grab it, and she's just like, oh.
Yeah, he's like towering over her, and she's kind of trapped in the cupboard.
Yep.
It's real good.
I'm really glad I clocked that was the only, like, they did that with the only one that's shorter than him. It's really funny.
Yep.
The boy is tiny, and the girl is tinier.
Yeah. And yet deadly at martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have to give you an update on Turkey Time to Strike.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know how my theory was that the main character's parents had maybe time traveled previously. Like, that's part of the backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I think that maybe, like, her dad did the time traveling, and her mum might be from the past, or maybe the other way around. Because at the start of this episode, they meet Suguri, who's the samurai that they saved in the previous episode. They meet his little sister, and she hates them instantly because she hates traveling performers, which is what they're posing as to explain their outfits and stuff. And the way this is framed is she hates traveling performers because they took someone very precious from her when she was young. And also the character who is Mai's double, the pink one, basically, ends the episode by revealing that she knows that they're time travelers. and definitely learned bowling from time travelers in the past. So, like, the time travel shit is maybe not as small of a thing as I said I thought it was going to be last week. But it has nothing on the drama element of this show, which is this girl, Rina, who's on the team, who is this, like, surly first year. And that girl has some stuff going on. Like, the little sister yells at them all and tries to get them to go and leave the house and so on. And they all chide the little sister for being rude. And then Rina is like, wait, so it's rude to be honest when you don't like something? Is her response. And then she's like, okay, I'm not wanted here. I'm going to leave the estate. Because she doesn't want to stay anywhere that someone hates her. They do persuade her to stay. And she kind of apologizes a little bit for a little bit of her being a brat. But there is something going on there. Mm. Meanwhile, there's also, like, she's not a gyaru, but she is like the popular girl member of the team, the blonde beauty one, whose initial response to meeting a real samurai was like, oh, it's an ikemen, I'm going to marry him. And she seems dead set on marrying him. But also, she keeps getting offered gummies when she gets hungry. And her response is always, I'm not a child, you can't buy me off with gummies. And then she takes a gummy, which is very good. You know, I love it when a cat is undignified.
You sure fucking do.
Looks at my other girlfriend.
Staring nowhere in particular, yeah.
Also sometimes you.
Hey now.
It's true. I'm not going to mince words about it.
Yeah, fine.
Anyway, in a complete swerve, let's talk about the summer Hikaru died.
This show is a lot.
It's a lot. A lot is going on. So, apparently it's summer festival week for animes this week. So many of these anime are going to summer festivals in one way or another. But it's the summer festival. Yoshiki's sister wants to go to the festival, but she's a NEET and she's clearly, like, afraid to be out in public, deeply uncomfortable being out in public, and is only put at ease when not Hikaru is there to go with them and like cheer her up and get her in the mood. There's clearly, we're going to get some sort of deeper investigation of the sister at some point that's going to make sense of that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's paid off yet. There's an interesting note here, and this is one of those things that I feel like it seldom shows up in anime, but when it does, it's always interesting, which is the relationship between, like, Shinto and Japanese folk traditions and Christianity.
Yeah.
There's a very conspicuous shot of one of the stall holders at the festival wearing a crucifix, and then we find out that this village is the satellite village of a town, and the town and all the other satellite villages are very Christian and they all have churches, but this village doesn't have a church and only has this older, like, classical Japanese shrine and this weird relationship with this spooky monster on the mountain. And again, it's just stacking things one on top of another, because there are two bombshells in this episode, one of which, and maybe you caught this and I just missed it, but I had been thinking that there wasn't a very long window between Hikaru dying and Yoshiki realizing that Hikaru had died and confronting not Hikaru about it at the start of the show.
So I don't think it was explicitly mentioned until now that how he knew, but I think it was something that, like, the way he has trouble sleeping and the way they frame that as, like, really traumatic felt more substantial, like he had firm evidence to hold on to than just the stuff with not Hikaru recently. But yeah, I got the feeling I wasn't able to substantiate that, I don't think, until this episode.
Fair. It completely took me out, because it's like, oh no, that would, like, Hikaru died 6 months ago, and Yoshiki knew Hikaru died because he found the body, and he just didn't say anything for 6 months, which, like, maybe this sounds like a flippant response to that, but that absolutely is how teenagers behave with their crushes. So, you know, the metaphor holds.
Yeah.
The other thing that we get in this episode is that Yoshiki, at least, was aware that someone else in their class at school was gay.
I was like half distracted while you were watching this. I didn't parse whether it was somewhere in their family, like extended family, or their class.
I think it's someone in their class who's in one of the other families in the village. We talked before about how small this village is.
Yeah, and I was going to say, there's not, in a community this small, it's not like there's a whole league of difference between the two.
I think it's one of their classmates. So not Hikaru says something like, oh, I heard that guy was, that guy's family talking about him being diseased and unsuitable for succession. And Yoshiki's like, he's not diseased, he's gay. Which also kind of fits into the context of this scene where Yoshiki is talking about how he wants to move to Tokyo and get out of the sticks. And then this whole issue of whether he's going to leave Hikaru. Because at the festival, the two of them have this very long discussion about... I mean, it's just the two lads talking, really. It's not a discussion about anything until not Hikaru makes a wild segue from them talking about shaved ice flavors into whether Yoshiki can tell the difference between him and actual Hikaru. He effectively asks Yoshiki, do I taste different to Hikaru? Just, it's all still kind of tightening the spring on this very, very close allegory for them being gay. And we get a whole bunch more world building. It turns out that the paranormal investigator can make barriers to keep evil spirits out, but he has to give up one of his organs every time.
Yep.
It's still a horror show.
Yep.
But it is, you know, it's teen anime realism, which brings us to The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, which opens with Rintaro stressing over how to word a text message to Kaoruko, because he wants to ask her to come to the cafe again so they can hang out, and she's busy studying. I'm such a sucker for a scene where a character can't think of what to text their love interest. I love that. It's perfect.
Yeah, that sounds about right for you.
I absolutely do obsess over the wording of any message that I have to say that's got any weight to it at all. Don't be a writer, folks. Don't be a writer with anxiety and autism.
Yeah, just don't. That's a choice you can make.
Anyway, the pressure on Rintaro is that their teacher tells him and his catboy bro Shohei that they won't be. I think it's they won't be allowed to participate in Sports Day if their grades don't improve.
The sports festival, yeah.
And they really, really want, like, this is such a boys' school thing, I think, or like a schoolboys thing of really wanting to do Sports Day as Sports Day being a highlight of the year. You know, so many anime have nerds as protagonists who hate the idea of Sports Day, but it was nice to see, okay, these kids who are fundamentally fairly jock adjacent in their identities, like most boys, want to play sports. So now they're scrambling to study and get their grades up. This leads to them going to the public library because it's better air-conned than their school library, and they struggle to study there as well. And then they run into Kaoruko, who is studying at the library as well because she's got to cram for her tests, and Rintaro doesn't want to disturb her while she's studying, but as he's leaving, she looks around and recognizes him by his back, which normally I would consider to be absurd, but this guy is 20% larger than any other human being in the show, so
and with
he would stand out a bit.
Bright blonde hair.
Yeah, that too. Anyway, it bubbles up into this confrontation. Rintaro and Kaoruko end up talking outside the library, and then one of Kaoruko's friends comes up, and then Rintaro's friends come up, and Kaoruko's friend Subaru, should we say, is overprotective lesbian coded?
A little bit, yeah.
Is that a fair description?
Yeah.
Like, she has hang-ups around boys, at very least, and she hates the portrayal of, like, class hatred, discriminatory attitudes in her is so vicious and so painful. And then from the other side, Shohei, the cat boyfriend, also can't hold back from escalating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a horrible scene in a really productive, powerful way.
Yeah.
And I really like, maybe this isn't that special or unusual a thing, but I really like that this story is about the characters who are the peacemakers between that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, both Rintaro and Kaoruko try to de-escalate the situation, try to get people to apologize to one another.
Yeah. So one of the blurbs for the series is comparing it to Romeo and Juliet.
Mm.
And I think that's a fair comparison, given the whole, like, these two schools are really fucking angry at each other.
Yes.
For a feud that is pointless and has been going for a long time.
Mm.
But they are doing their best to broach peace in their little ways.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the charms of the couple.
Yeah. Like, that evening, Kaoruko calls Rintaro to try to kind of talk through it and figure out how to handle it in future and stuff. She also says she thinks he's cool, and he was not ready for that. He's not ready to be called cool. And that's an interesting difference in how cool is used between Japan and Anglophone contexts.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like Rintaro type characters in the West are cool. We would extend the word cool to them, but it wouldn't mean quite the thing that Kaoruko means by calling him cool,
mm-hmm.
which is honestly much more noble. And then they have a really, really cute conversation about whether she should use formal Japanese when she talks to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, please be familiar with me, please don't use Keigo with me. And we don't get to see her face and know how she's feeling, because she's clearly a bit overwhelmed by this.
Until the end of the conversation.
Until the end. Like, Rintaro hangs up the phone and is like, shit, I wonder what expression was on her face as I was babbling at her about this. And it cuts to Kaoruko, and she's like grinning like an idiot and blushing to the eyeballs.
And she's just like, did he figure out that I was grinning the whole time?
So cute. It's so cute. I love them.
It's adorable.
And then we get an ominous final shot of Subaru, Kaoruko's friend, looking at a photo of her and Kaoruko as children, in which, far from being an elegant beauty, she is a tomboy.
Mm-hmm.
And there could be so many different significations there, and I'm nervous about them all.
It'll be fine. And genuinely, like, it'll work out.
Yeah. I mean, I figure it'll work out. It's just what we have to go through to get there.
Nothing as bad as Watari, so it's fine.
Oh, good.
It's
That, my dear, is what they call a low bar.
Yeah, but, like, I think over the next couple episodes, we'll probably get the resolution. We'll see. I like Subaru. She's a good character.
Yeah, and like, clearly part of what she's going through is that she sees Rintaro intervening to protect Kaoruko.
Yeah. Specifically, when Shohei starts shit, Subaru goes to pull Kaoruko back, and Rintaro goes to, like, push Shohei back.
Yeah.
Because he knows that Subaru is not comfortable with him being, like, close to Kaoruko, but still wants to, like, protect her.
Yeah.
And Subaru notices that.
Yeah. I mean, some part of her is going, wait, boys can be good? Boys from the Chav school can be good? Posh girls.
And also, later in that scene, Shohei does apologize, like, actually, for causing problems.
And Subaru doesn't.
Yep.
Which I thought was that's a really good writing choice.
Mm-hmm.
If she had apologized, like, she should have apologized. But the fact that she didn't is powerful for setting up future tension.
Yep. Which is why I'm just like, couple more episodes, it'll be real good.
It's already real good. Anyway, let's whiz through some brief mentions. We have April showers bring May flowers, in which we meet Ueno's, the male love interest's younger brother, who is fucked up and calls the police.
Like, not as a bit, he literally calls the cops on Tabata.
Like, Tabata is standing outside their house trying to work up the courage to press the doorbell because she's been sent there by her meddling mother with some pickles.
Yep.
And she's, like, freaking out, kind of trying to work up the courage to press the doorbell. And the brother comes out and confronts her. And when she stammers, he's like, I'm going to call the police if you don't explain what you're doing. And then he actually does.
Yeah. Little fucking menace.
He's a problem.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ueno truly doesn't understand girls at all, and so ends up asking Ugusidani, the popular girl, for help understanding how to like make things right with Tabata. And Ugusidani, who really thinks she's a Machiavellian genius and isn't, is trying to sabotage the couple and ends up giving him exactly the right advice instead.
Yeah.
That's a bit I'm not going to get tired of.
Yeah.
I hope she ends up kissing them both.
Yeah. I can't say anything else right now. I'm looking forward to more of this bullshit.
I hope she fucks up hating them so badly that she ends up in a throuple with them.
That would be fucking crazy.
It would rule. I finally remembered to watch the first episode of Utagoe Mille-Feuille, which I'm not going to talk about in detail. It's very clearly trying to be Bocce the Rock, but without all the like wacky, zany, inventive animation to represent Bocce's anxiety. So you just get this girl who has Bocce level of anxiety, looking like a normal girl. And for the first 2 weeks of term, every day she's going to the pop music club room to try to hand in her membership form, and then freaking out and not doing so. At one point, she gets as far as entering the room when it's almost empty, and two of the club members find her there, and in a panic, she rips up her form and runs off instead of just handing it over.
Jesus Christ, girl.
It gets better.
Oh, no.
By the end of the second week, she has become like school folklore of like, there's this weird creature, this kind of, maybe she's a ghost who goes to the pop music club room every day. And there's a scene where like 30 kids have turned out to watch her.
Oh no!
Do this. With like, some of them have their phones out. One of them, who is clearly going to be like the school journalist, has like an actual camera on a camera stand and is filming. And it's not even like she's walking up to the door. She is crawling on the floor wrapped in a blanket like a little slime.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And then she ends up getting kind of pressured into joining the a cappella club instead. Presumably it's going to be about her healing through the power of music and stuff, and I'm here for that, but it's not quite going to be Bocce because it's the commitment to kind of realist animation means it's never going to be as realistic as Bocce because you can't express that with realistic animation.
Yeah.
So that's Utagoe Mille-Feuille. We had another episode of With You in the Rain, which is also a festival episode. And the centerpiece of this one is Fuji takes the tanuki to this festival and puts the basket that he's riding around in down for a moment, and he wanders off. And we get a fairly long sequence of her searching around the festival for where he's gone and very clearly being very upset. You know, this is another show that's really understated in its rendering of characters. But I got so tense watching her just very subtly getting more and more desperate as she can't find him. And then it turns out he's basically leading her to the best view of the festival fireworks, which she watches alone instead of with her family, who have adopted the kid from next door.
Yeah, girl has issues. Like, every single time it's just like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna just go be alone, except for my dog, who is definitely sentient and, like, some sort of trickster god here to fuck with me, because this is not a dog. But
I mean, mostly the dog is there to fuck with everyone else.
No, the dog is mostly there to be fucked with.
Her dad does try to get the tanuki to wear a bunch of outfits this episode.
And also, He's afraid of the other dog.
Yes. Anyway, speaking of girls who have issues, let's talk about Bad Girl episode 4.
Speaking of girls and dogs.
So the nursery kids have apparently recruited 250 members to their Mizutori fan club, which is starting an MLM.
Yeah, there's a pyramid scheme involved. It's crazy.
And Yu has been, like, added to the committee of this club, basically as the president's chair. And by the end of the meeting, she is officially recognized as Mizutori's pet.
Yeah.
But then she goes to the cinema with Suzu, her friend, who is the scary-looking non-Gyaru. They go to see an action movie because Yu wants to prove that she, like, can be a badass and like action movies. And miraculously, they end up sat next to Rura, the streamer girl from the previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot handle the action movie at all and just holds Rura's hand the whole time. I'm sure, like...
Why not Suzu's, the friend who you brought with you? It's a mystery.
I think she is shown holding both their hands at one point. She also goes to space again when it hits a sex scene in the film,
yep,
which is a good bit. Then we had cultural exchange with the Game Center girl, which actually featured an authentic I'm Die Thank You Forever reference.
Which the subtitles didn't know how to handle, which is crazy in this day and age.
Well, didn't know how to handle or deliberately decided to make an extra play on it.
I don't think they did intentionally fuck that up. For those who are not familiar with VTuber bullshit, it's a reference to when Korone Inagami was playing with Mori Calliope. They were playing Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes in English only, which is not Korone's first language, or one she's terribly good at under pressure. And they got down to the last 3 seconds on the bomb that they were defusing for the game, and she went, "Oh, I'm Die, thank you forever." Mm-hmm. And that got referenced. The team did not apparently know this reference, so it came through the subtitles as "I'm a big thank you forever."
Yeah.
Not quite.
Yeah. Anyway, there's now a love rival for Lily, who is actually Renji's age, because he is in college and she's a middle schooler, which is a bit iffy. But also, Renji's little sister still hasn't seen through the disguise that he wears when he's around both her and Lily to prevent his little sister realizing that he and Lily have a thing going.
Yeah.
It continues to be adorable. It's getting dubbed. We are going to check out the dub at some point.
Yeah, I really hope Sally Amaki is also doing the voice of Lily in the dub.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like this entire show falls apart if you dub it.
Kind of, yeah. Then there's Detective Fasita's Crazy, which spent most of this episode setting up this elaborate set of locked room mystery stereotypes.
Yep.
Only to have there not really be a locked room mystery because everything was either caused or made up by the detectives.
Or just completely a misunderstanding. As the lady who was the quote-unquote sole survivor of a massacre found out.
Yeah.
Her entire family's fine.
Yeah. And then, so there's Nagumo, who's the main character, and he has this chipper girl who stores an entire armory in her bra as an assistant. And then there's another detective
who's in high school,
who is actually a current high school genius detective, and he has an assistant called Maki, who might be like, I don't know how old Maki is, because like at the end of this episode,
that's the joke.
Yeah, she and Nagumo are like drinking together as old people, and Nagumo is like, "Haven't you had enough?" or something to that effect, and she's like, "Wait, no, I'm 20 and this is barley tea and I'm not drinking." And I can't tell which, like, I get that that's the joke. I can't tell which side of the joke is the real side.
Yeah. We'll find out eventually, I guess.
I hope.
I'm also looking at her name and nickname, Hanamaki Kazamaki.
Oh, no.
Hanamaki has returned.
VTubers strike again.
Oh, God.
Finally, for kind of ordinary brief mentions, Apocalypse Bringer Mynoghra, episode 4. There's a cute bit at the beginning where they're talking about where Tacto and Atto are talking about their meal choices. Takuto always eats burgers, Atto always eats salads. Neither of them fully approves of this choice by the other. I mention this only because Takuto's complaint about Atto's diet is that it's insufficiently evil to eat salad all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, me too. It's just a good bit. But most of this episode was about... So they're at the south of this continent, and the main landmass of the continent is occupied by these two good-aligned nations, which are going to cause them trouble. One of the good-aligned nations has sent two Crusader knights with some mercenaries to investigate the omens of their arrival. One of the knights is very, very pious and strict, and the other is super laid back and doesn't give a shit. I think the framing is such that you're mostly on, if not on the strict knight's side, it's kind of positioned as he's the one who's going to be the protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
And then they actually get to a confrontation, and it fully flips into him kind of being the fashy one, and then getting the entire mercenary force obliterated.
Yep.
Because this hooded figure appears in front of them, claiming to be a dark elf and saying everything is fine, and the lazy knight wants to go home, and the strict knight is like, well, okay, show us some proof or get out of our way so that we can go and check for ourselves. And the hooded figure turns out to be a witch who obliterates all the mercenaries and maybe is going to kill them too. I couldn't tell if this was Atu or
it's Atu.
Is it?
Yeah,
because there is another character who kind of looks like Atto in the...
It's Atu. She's known as the Sludge Witch.
But there are other witches.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have just thrown a new one into the pile right at the end there. Not with this show. I feel
not with this show, maybe. Yeah, because it's basically only Atto as a character.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are entering the content warning zone because we're going to talk about There's No Freaking Way I'll Be Your Lover, which is still reeling from the sexual assault at the end of the previous episode. Then we'll talk about the other shows that have lots of sex in. Watanabe, still, I think we're still a little uncomfortable with the mix of serious and comedic vibes in this show. Is it fair to say?
I'm not uncomfortable with it per se. Like, I would be shaking Reneko by the shoulder to be like, hey, no, don't just let her off the hook for this. She needs to learn that wasn't okay. But, like, as a piece of fiction that has its own stuff going on and wants to move past it and wants to have like a just like a hard line of like, okay, no, we're done with dealing with this right now because we have other stuff we want to do with these characters. I respect it. So
at the end of that scene in the previous episode, Reneko slaps Mai and tells her to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And that does set the boundary, and Mai does seem to have got the point of that to some degree. But what we learn in this episode is that Mai is now kind of basically trying to make a martyr of herself in expiation. She's like, oh, well, I hurt you, so now our relationship is forever ruined, and I'm going to go and find another lover. More on that in a moment. And it's as much the kind of all or nothing thing that's the problem there. It's like Mai is refusing.
Yeah.
It's not that Mai doesn't understand that she's hurt Reneko and Reneko is letting her off the hook. It's that Mai is being a drama queen about it rather than dealing with it as a mature person in a relationship.
That's the thing though, like, this is still like teen issues and teen dealing with stuff. Like, over the course of our relationship, we've had to be like, we might have issues, but we're not gonna, like, this is not a one and done kind of like one strike where you're out and we're done kind of thing. This is like something we talk through, and so that it doesn't happen again. But Mai is just like, she's so used to getting her way the first time that having someone rebuke her at all, even if it's deserved, it's just like, oh, this is done then, I guess.
Yeah. And like, that is realistic. Like, that is a thing that young people do. It's a problem that I've had. But the problem here is that what Mai does is
insane.
It is insane, but it is specifically, it's running from responsibility. Like, she basically decides to cut Reneko out of her life, regardless of what Reneko wants. So there is this scene later on where Reneko apologizes for slapping Mai, which...
Wrong takeaway.
You know, you don't have to apologize for slapping someone who sexually assaulted you.
Yeah, no.
But within the context of how Mai is reacting, I understand why Reneko did. Like, this is messy queer romance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is how it goes. Still, it all feels very real to me.
Mm-hmm.
The comedy in the episode maybe doesn't so much.
Yeah. Well, I think right now, the comedy in this episode in particular is just kind of straining against trying to maintain the quote-unquote rom-com against the things that need to happen for this episode and its threads to resolve.
Yeah.
Which, like, I would have been fine if this was just all serious and didn't have the, like, comedic interjections.
Yeah.
All the drama in this, I understand why Reneko is doing the things she's doing. I still want to, like, shake her and go, no, please don't do that.
Yeah.
But, like...
Because one thing that the show makes clear is that Reneko's behavior is grounded in prior experiences that she's had and in issues that she has around, like, her ability to say no.
Mm-hmm.
In general, not just specifically in romantic and sexual circumstances. And I assume that we're going to get into that. And indeed, I think we do in this episode, somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, among other things, Reneko at one point says, look, I froze up because I am not good at saying no. And it is still a bit... Because, you know, the thing that Mai does to cut herself out of Reneko's life is, one, stop communicating with her at all, which, bad. And then two, throw a party where she invites everyone who's ever confessed to her to show up so that she can find a different suitor.
Yeah.
Which is very, very funny as a concept.
And also, not how you deal with realizing you sexually assaulted someone.
Yes. And Reneko shows up to the party, uninvited, to confront her about this. Has a very, very, very funny conversation with Kaho, the green-haired girl in the
Green Goblin.
The Green Goblin. I mean, she is. Yeah. It hadn't occurred. It hadn't occurred to me that you could use that for that archetype, but just off the top of my head, I can think of 2 other shows that have green goblins in this season.
I mean, she is green and a goblin.
Yes.
What's more to summarize?
Yeah, she's very good. But also in this show, we get Reneko spontaneously confessing to Ajisai.
Yeah, because, like, I think the way it comes up makes sense in that she's like, I can't say no. I need to explain myself so much.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I really, really like you. Spending time with you was one of the best times I've had. I think you're really cute. I really like you, but I can't right now. And she does this while circling the desk to, like, get closer to Ajisai and be like, I'm so sorry, holding her head. I can't do this. Please invite me again sometime.
Mm.
And then Ajisai goes, I really like you too, and then closes her eyes and puckers her lips.
It's real good. It's so good.
Goes, wait, what is happening? And then they, like, both back off and like, anyway, you should invite Sasuke or something to hang out. I have something to do today.
Yeah.
It's really good. This is the shit I love, and that's what I want the rest of the show to be.
Mm.
But I don't have, like, a problem with the first 4 episodes of the show so far. It's just that it needs a caveat for, like, this is going to be heavy up front before we get to the rom-com scramble that it is advertising.
Yes. And then we end with Reneko trying to formulate the concept of situationships from first principles.
Yep.
And then Mai being like, no, I'm still going to make you my lover, which Reneko is doomed.
Mm-hmm. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have a series.
I think at this point she is choosing to be doomed.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it feels like. Very quickly on Chuhai Lips, episode 4. I might be imagining this, but it feels like the amount of actual on-screen sex seems to be decreasing in favor of spending more time on the absurd scenarios.
I don't think that's wrong, but it could be. Like, I think it's probably marginal, but because the episodes are so short, I don't know.
Yeah. But it is, like, I think the way to understand this show is that it draws its erotic element from the scenario rather than from the sex.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is much more about the taboo. You know, in this, he has sex with one of his buddy's sisters while his buddy is passed out drunk in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I am still waiting for him to eat pussy. I feel like a lot of how I ultimately feel about the show is whether it can imagine, and it's not just about is he going to do anything for a woman's pleasure. It's why are we not recognizing that eating pussy can be hot?
I think it's, I mean, hey, we're going to get that doesn't count if you lose your virginity to an android adaptation soon enough.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, we'll have to see how they adapt that to anime.
I almost made a joke about the Jaws theme starting to play, but maybe that's not the best thing to put around eating pussy. Somebody sent my mother a greeting card recently, and it has on the front a mock-up of the Jaws cover, but it's a cat swimming up to catch a fish that's near the surface, and it says pause, which is a great card gag concept, but also is stitching all these different things together in really weird ways in my head.
I was gonna say, where the fuck is this going?
It's not going anywhere.
much like Nukitashi.
Nukitashi is going somewhere. There are some really good scenes in this episode of dealing with the serious side of the core cast's discomfort with how the law stands on this island.
Mm-hmm.
Asane, Jinosuke's little sister, comes out to Nanase, the girl that they're forming the anti-copulation front.
That's correct.
Why can I remember that correctly? What the fuck? Anyway, there is this scene of they're at dinner together, and Asane ends up explaining that she's a lesbian, and she's clearly she's used to having been excluded for that. And Nanase responds perfectly for the kind of response you want when you come out to people, which is let me give you a hug, basically.
Yep.
And Jinosuke also has what is clearly a deep personal pain around sex that explains why he is, and the word for it is autosexuality. He's more interested in masturbation than in having sex with other people. That is somewhat undercut by, one, we find out that in his hobby of making honor holes, he sells them online and has rave customer reviews on his Etsy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And also the reason that he is the reason for his hang-ups around having sex with people are because he's got an enormous schlong and has been bullied all his life for having a huge dick.
Yeah. Quote the line, "My dick has made my life a misery."
Mood.
Yeah.
But not quite. It's just, Jinosuke as a character makes sense to me, but the jokes that have been built around Jinosuke just feel weird to me.
Yeah.
And, I figured out this week how to express how the show as a whole makes me feel. And it is this is a response I am having to the show that is definitely not really related to what the show is.
It's probably more just a really absurd coincidence that this is happening in the real world at the same time.
Well, the collective shout element of it is, yes.
Yeah.
So I remember this more from 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. There was a bit of a trend for spec fic stories where the conceit was, what if reverse oppression? So what if matriarchy instead of patriarchy? Or what if straight people were treated the way gay people are today and being gay was the norm?
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you think about it for even a second, is clearly a close neighbor of white genocide, great replacement stuff. Most of those stories come from a bad place. To try to pin down exactly what's wrong with it, it feels like a kind of voyeuristic, quite fetishistic, masochistic, fetishistic, paranoid delusion, really. And the setting for this show feels like the neo-Puritan version of that.
Yeah.
It feels, to me, like this world is some collective shout members' idea of what sex-positive people want the world to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, if you're genuinely sex-repulsed, I do kind of understand feeling that there is a kind of pressure like that to have lots of sex. But it doesn't feel like an expression of genuine sex repulsion because it's porn.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like this is... The thing that's making me uncomfortable is the sensation that this is coming from somebody who is specifically fetishizing their own hatred of sex positivity.
Yeah, I get that for sure.
Like I say, it's an emotional reaction to what, the real story, the real kind of story behind this is somebody's got a, like, public sex fetish, mass sex fetish, non-monogamy fetish, and they cobbled together nonsensical world building to justify it.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that I am getting too sucked into analyzing the world building of a porn comedy.
Yep.
But it does have to be said that for the second episode in a row, a really important turning point of this episode is a rape scene. In some ways, a more grotesque one than in the previous episode. And if the world building in this show keeps producing rape scenes, that then tells us something about how that incoherent mess of world building is being used by the creative team and to what ends. Hopefully that's the last rape scene, because it is really uncomfortable and I did not enjoy watching that.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 in 2 episodes is not a good feeling for me.
Yeah.
And that's part of why I end up, like, picking apart the world building and trying to understand its ideology.
Because it keeps resulting in this.
Yes. And, like, this is also a show that wants to be flippant. It wants to have lines like, I was up all night doing a cream pie bucket relay in it.
Which is a funny line.
It's a very funny line. It's extremely funny in context.
Yeah. They also lie about doing overposition play. Like, it's crazy.
I think it's not technically overposition because they're not putting eggs in each other.
I mean...
They're just laying eggs.
They gotta get in there somehow.
Well, no, oviposition is when you implant an egg in someone else.
I know.
They're just talking about...
They're talking about laying eggs. Yes, I'm aware.
Anyway, on that note, let's end the NSFW block of the show.
Let's.
For various reasons, we didn't watch that much older stuff this week. But we did get through another 3 episodes of Season 3 of The World God Only Knows.
Mm.
And I will be stabbing several people about it.
Yeah, come get me.
I fucking will. Ye gods, I am suffering. I hate everything. I will never be okay again. Anyway, yeah, the Chihiro scene, the like reveal about Chihiro, which I don't want to spoil. I hate Keima Katsuragi. I really do. And I'm mad that I now care him very much.
Yes! We fucking got her!
I hate you. I hate Tara for putting me through this.
I fucking knew I would get you by the end of this.
It's not fair.
It's so good.
It's brutal. It really, truly is. And then we find out that the apocalypse is about to hatch.
Yep.
And, like, Keima gets super real in this when after the Chihiro scene, other girls who are actually involved in the thing are still in love with him and making demands on his time. He gets real mad at them because he is clearly upset about Chihiro. And that's a mood.
Mm-hmm.
I will say the bit at the start of this sequence of episodes where Keima is ill and trying to specifically get Ayumi to show up to be the girl who comes over to care for him and do that bit where he's trying to get her to show up and no one else is very fun.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite episodes. It's very strong. Like, this boy does not know the affections he's playing with.
He sure fucking doesn't. Someone send these girls copies of Polysecure.
Oh, God.
Translate that book into Japanese and completely transform the rom-com genre.
Girlfriend was ahead of its time.
Girlfriend's incredibly ahead of its time.
Anyway. Speaking of more people who could use polysecure.
I hope a horse kicks you to death.
Yeah, I love you too.
To quote episode 1 of Infinite Stratos. Maybe it was episode 2.
It was one of them.
Yeah, because making me watch The World God Only Knows wasn't enough. I am now being forced to sit through Infinite Stratos, which has a British girl in it. My suffering will never end.
The funniest fucking thing is that I have been telling you for like a long time that we're probably not going to watch this show because it's extremely stupid. And for some reason, you thought I wanted you to watch and it wasn't you trying to get me to watch watch it. And
because you are into humiliation play.
I am not.
Then why do you tell on yourself so much?
Because it's funny, and you know it.
That's why we're watching this show.
No, we're watching the show because Tara is an idiot, and was just like, oh yeah, I'll watch that if you want, as repayment for Crosshand. This is me getting her to shut up about Omegas for Crosshand.
Crosshand was my idea anyway.
I know, but she's still going on about it.
Because she'd been telling me not to watch it for 5 years, and I was like, well, no, I'm really going to watch it this time. And it wasn't even that onerous, all told.
It really wasn't. But if it'll get her to shut the fuck up about it, we're gonna watch Infinite Stratos about it. So we're doing that.
We've watched 3 episodes and this boy already has 2 childhood friends.
That's all the childhood friends he's getting. Don't worry.
How many British girls is he getting? Because the British girl is a problem.
Just the one. They only stack Japanese girls. And the other 2 don't even show up until season 2. It's fine. I'm actually wrong. There is another childhood friend, but she's not at school. She's someone he knows outside of school. For an episode, they go shopping.
Most anime boys only get 1 childhood friend. Why does this one get 3?
Because he's the only boy at the school. He ends season 2 hits like 7 main girls. It's a lot.
Christ.
Anyway, this show is all fucking rom-com scramble, but there's mechs. There's like not quite mechs as well. So it's just like, oh, no wonder I'm like this.
We finally found a mecha show that we can all watch together.
Don't say that. Tara will kill you.
Bring it on. Anyway, so We're Watching That Right is a project of Slimebug Productions. Intro and outro music is by me, graphics are by Val. You can find us on Blue Sky at slimebug.bsky.social, YouTube at youtube.com/@slimebugproductions. Download all episodes from listen at slimebug.pro, and join our Discord via the link in the description. Thanks for listening, and until next time, may anime neither betray nor disappoint you.